Hey, everybody, and welcome to the question and answer session. I am Deanna Gloyd. I'm an intuitive and I teach empaths and highly sensitive people how to take their power back and raise their frequency. I used to do lives for years and then I took a little sabbatical and I'm back. And so I am here to take your questions. If you have any questions, please put them down here in the chat. If not, it's going to be a real short Q&A. So let's see. Oh, hi. Okay. Hello there. It looks like Brittany. Hi, Brittany. How are you doing? This is my first time to do a live on TikTok. So I'm just learning. If you all are sending gifts, thank you so much. And I'm going to see if there's any questions we have down here below. And it doesn't look like I have any questions. I'm getting some people to join up over here on YouTube. All right. Let's see here. Okay, looks like I got a few people on board, but everybody's pretty quiet. So I'll just start talking. And if you have any questions, let me know. Right now, we're getting ready for the holidays, and it's October. And so many of the people that have been coming to see me in my private sessions have been asking me questions about their ancestors and their loved ones. And there's a few popular ones. Oh, I got some thumbs up over here. Thank you for that. And I got a few popular ones. Hi, Crystal. How you doing? Good to see you. All right, let's see if I have anybody on Instagram, in TikTok. This is my first time to go on live, so I'm not sure about all the different bells and whistles over here. Let's see if we've got somebody over here. Okay, great. Okay, so when I'm doing these sessions live and I'm doing mediumship during this time of year, like I said, a lot of people are missing deceased loved ones. They're not really sure, how to contact them. And so they come to see a medium, and that's what I do. And so some of the questions that I've experienced over the years about mediumship and being a medium is, how do I communicate with the other side? And so basically what happens is, over the years, as you develop your ability to tune in and connect to the other side, these disembodied spirits or deceased loved ones from the other side will actually come through, and they will begin to talk to you. They'll begin to ask questions sometimes of the people that you're talking to in the real world. And then also the people or the 3D world will ask you different questions. So here's something that recently happened. So I had a person come in, and they had lost a loved one tragically. And they weren't sure if, that person had crossed over or gone to the other side. And so once we connect into that deceased loved one, then you can find out, have they crossed over? Have they gone to heaven? Or are they still in the 3D world? And it turns out that when people pass tragically, that means that perhaps they died in a sudden car wreck. Perhaps they died in an explosion or something else. Hang on just a second. Let me see if I've got any comments over here on. Oh, hi, Michael. Nice to see you. I'm so glad that you joined. If you have any questions, let me know. This is the first time I've ever done this. Hi, Michael. Good to see you. Vamp P joined, and Nelson has joined. So, as I said, this is my first time to do TikTok. So please forgive me if I'm a little, new at all of this. But what I'm doing is talking about being a medium, deceased loved ones, and stories that I've heard. So if you have a question about a deceased loved one, then go ahead and put it on here. Hi, David. Good to see you. And this time of year, the holidays. Hi. Looks like Alda. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. So what I'm doing is talking about deceased loved ones. And often people come to me for mediumship readings, and they want to know if their loved one is crossed over. And so to recap, we were talking about how when people die tragically or they die suddenly, a lot of times they don't cross over. They don't go to heaven. They don't go to the other side. And so when you come to me and we're talking to them and we find out, oh, hello, Justin. Can't quite see your name. Sorry, down here. Dawn, hi. What happens is that we can actually help to cross them over. I know this is a little controversial, but you can connect into deceased loved ones and you can actually talk to them and you can say, are you crossed over? And usually they're stuck in the last thing they remember. So if they died in a tragic accident, I had one young man who was actually shot and he died on the street. And his loved one came to me and he hadn't crossed over yet. He was still walking back and forth in time, looking at what happened before he got shot. Oh, hi, Justin. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Nancy. Oh, hi, how you doing, Nancy? Peter, nice to see you. And looks like Lisa, nice to see you. If you have any questions, pop them down here. We're talking about connecting with deceased loved ones. So if you have a deceased loved one and maybe you want to have a reading or find out how they're doing, just pop your question down below. Okay. So what happened with the young man, let me focus back over here on the people on YouTube too. What happened with the young man is that his girlfriend came to see me because he had been shot and he died. And when that happened, he was in so much shock and he didn't realize, his soul didn't realize that he had passed. And so he kept walking the streets right in that same spot over and over and over again. And then once that I connected in with him, once I connected in with his, through his girlfriend, we were able to talk to him. And he was able to tell me things about what happened to him that day. He could tell me the faces that he saw and the things that he remembers. And once the young man was able to tell me that, then we were able to help him resolve his issue. And we were able to help him cross over. The nice thing was that his girlfriend got some answers. You know, he told her he loved her, which was good. He also let her know the people that were involved in his death. And so she was able to get some answers and pass that on to law enforcement. So that's really kind of one of the cool things that you can do in mediumship. All right, let me say hi to a few more people over here. Bugaboo is joining. Lady Di is joining. Joanne, Lori, Maria, looks like Min, and DDC is joining. Let's see here. And Honey is joining. And again, this is the first time I've done a TikTok live, a Rumpelstiltskin. I know what you're up to today. Okay, so they're asking me to set a goal. There we go. So like I said, first time on TikTok, also have an Instagram, or sorry, YouTube video going. So little weird the first time you get on these social medias and do the lives. Okay, so if anybody has a question about deceased loved ones, if they want to connect to their deceased loved one, you know, can you go ahead and post it down here below and let me know what your question is. I think you can do that over here on Instagram. All right, I do have a question on YouTube. What happens to a person when they passed in their sleep? Okay. What happens when somebody passes in their sleep? Okay. When somebody passes in their sleep, the white light will open up for them. Generally, their angels, their guides, their other deceased loved ones will actually come, and there will be a portal open between the worlds, or the veil between the worlds. And that person that dies in their sleep naturally will generally just come right on up out of their physical body and go through to the other side. It's pretty easy and effortless unless they have unresolved energy, unless they have unresolved things happening. And if you have somebody who dies and they have unresolved issues, often they're going to stick in this world so they can resolve the issues, so they can take care of it. And some people in today's world call it hauntings. Thank you so much for your question, Crystal. All right, let's see if I have any other questions over here. Okay, let's see. Otto joined. Hi to Otto. Vilmos joined. Nice to meet you. Number 9 joined. Katarina joined. Naluda joined. Hi, nice to see you. Ocean Love joined. Nice to see you. Carol and Bobby Wright. Nice to see you. All right. So I'm so glad to have you all aboard. Again, this is my first time. Let's see here. This is my first time to do TikTok, so hopefully things will go better. Your first time always feels weird. All right, if you have any questions, I'm understanding down here on TikTok that you can actually post questions. You can make comments. Looks like you can click hearts if you like. And if you have a question, if you could let me know, and then I will answer it. Okay, I have another question over here on YouTube. It says, do you think my mom's house will sell soon? Okay, well, let's see if we can pick that answer up real quick. Thank you for that question, Robin. It's actually talking about deceased loved ones today, but we can find that out for you. Okay, so the energy currently on the house and it's selling is coming in twos. So it's like 2 months from today. That's the first answer I got about when will the house sell. And then I'm also hearing that something's going to shift in a couple of weeks. So it's like 2 days, something will shift. Listing agent or something's going to go on there. And then you've got 2 weeks. That's the next thing. And then 2 months. So it feels like the house will move. Definitely in a couple of months, which is kind of odd because that's around Christmas time. So maybe that's somebody's Christmas present to themselves. All right, what do we got going on over here? Okay, hi to John. Hi to Selva Davis. Hi to Julie. Hi to Toad. Hi to Sherry Cook. Gerald. Carolyn. Alessandro. Thoth and Miss January, thank you so much for joining me over here on TikTok. Again, this is my very first time to do a TikTok, and I think you can put comments down here in the bottom so that I can answer your questions if you have any questions about deceased loved ones. I also have a streaming going on over here on YouTube, and I'm answering questions today. Okay, thank you, Robin, for your question. How can we find if my little brother moved on? His passing was because too much medication, so he never woke up from a nap. Okay, that's a great question. Okay, let's see here. All right. So we're going to connect into Crystal's little brother. Apparently, he fell asleep after being over medicated. And I'm getting yes that he did move on. What I'm hearing in my head is that his angels and guides currently have him in a space they like to call a detox. So a lot of souls and spirits that cross over life that was heavy, or they had a life with a lot of trauma, and they'll take them to a space where they debrief them, or they talk to them about what happened for them, how it felt, what their emotions were, and then they help them to heal before that person can choose to reincarnate. So yes, he did cross over from what I'm getting, even though he had too much medication. And that's a good question, passed in their sleep. I know there's college kids, thank you for the hearts, that sometimes will OD and their bodies can't recover from that. So too much alcohol or the drugs, and they will come back after that. But what happens is those people that their bodies couldn't process that and they pass will usually pass peacefully. And again, unless they have unresolved issues. All right, let's see who we have going on over here. Okay, what have we got here? This is my first time. Okay, so it looks like I've got some other people over here. It's first time on TikTok. Hi to Raul and Scott, Usama, Josie, David, Pro Hunter, Alex, Corona, that tank girl, that's cool, Moni, and Hi joined. So hi, good to see you. All right. Again, if you have any questions, post them down below. Next time I come on TikTok, I'll be a little bit more educated about how to answer those questions. I don't know if I'm just not getting the right space on TikTok, but I will learn how to do that. It should be set up for comments though. Cool. All right. Now, are there any other questions about disembodied? You're welcome for that. Any other questions about disembodied spirits? Do you need to shield yourself when talking to loved ones? All right. If you have a deceased loved one, for myself personally, when my clients come and they want to talk to somebody who's crossed over or somebody that's deceased, then yes, I do shield myself. So I raise the white light up and I give a space for us to work in, and then I ask only for that spirit to come in. Sometimes I get more than one deceased loved one, but the idea is uh, oh, thank you for sending that. Sorry. No, I'm super new at this. Let's see here. Okay. So looks like there's more people on here joining me. I've got saying hi to Rose, Steve Williams, Zanaldia, Tammy, Soda, and William. And looks like Kevin has joined. So thank you so much for joining me on TikTok. Again, my first time. We're talking about deceased loved ones. So we were talking about, somebody asked me if when I do mediumship, do I need to shield myself? So yes, I raise the white light and I create a space. And then the person in the room, the physical person or on Zoom that has a deceased loved one, I will ask that person to enter through because they know who that person is. So they think of that person and I ask that person to come in. Otherwise, for me, if I just started doing mediumships randomly and I don't have that energy or those shields up, you get any number of spirits talking to you, and it's not always the one that the person that you're doing the session for wants to speak to. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, like I said, this is my very first time on TikTok. I don't know if these lives replay or not. If you're on my channel, click the channel, click like or follow. And then if you have a question, just message me and let me know. And then I will make an announcement on all the social media platforms about when I'm coming back and then what I'm talking about. And you all can feel free to ask me any questions. I am a highly intuitive empath and I can do mediumship. I also work on people's health issues and mental health, emotional issues, and help them to work through that so they can raise their frequency and take their power back. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. And I will see you next time. Have a great and wonderful day.